Okay guys, so this is gonna be the tier list video. It's gonna be controversial as heck. So let's lay down some ground rules. I have not played Black Myth Wukong yet, so it's not gonna be in this list. But also, I've seen videos on YouTube of Black Myth Wukong, and this whole thing where you have to start a combo in order to parry is I already know I'm gonna give it in the parry metric. Black Myth Wukong maybe might not even wouldn't make it into this tier list in the first place. Then there's another game that would normally belong in this tier list, which is Sifu. But Sifu is not like any other game on this list. It really is more like a Kung Fu-like than it is a Souls-like or like an action game. And Sifu has tons of directional inputs. So I consider Sifu its own thing, and I'm not gonna include it in this tier list because I think Sifu is such a good game that it deserves its own video and not to be piled up in some kind of tier list. So this video is gonna be the greater tier list. Later on, I might make a video like a lesser tier list. But for now, these are the games that not only have parry, but the games are fun enough where you will feel like playing the game in its entirety, or at least playing most of the game before you drop it. And so without further ado, now we're actually going to start the tier list with the first game being the lowest rated game on this tier list, Frenzy Retribution. So this is a free game on Steam, and really it's a full game in quotations because it really is more of a demo than a full game, but it's a free game in its entirety on Steam. So this game is a non-stop parry fest. You can parry in all directions, and it's like a real sleeper hit that you would never know is on Steam and that you could play it because it's like an unknown game. Out of this entire tier list, this is probably like the least known game. I'm really happy with the parry in this game. You can parry in all directions. But I gotta make it the lowest rated game on these tier list because this game lasts like an hour at most. It's a super short game, so I can't really put it up there along with Sekiro or Elden Ring. So it gets to be the lowest rated game on the greater tier list. It's still a great game and you should play it. But as per the rules of this tier list, I have to place it at the bottom. Not because it's bad or because the game is bad or whatever, but it's just a really short game, so it goes at the bottom. Number 14 on the tier list, Lords of the Fallen, the one from like 2022 or 2023. So why is this game rated so low on the tier list, even though it's on the greater tier list, which means that it's one of the good games? Because this game, once you get like beyond the halfway mark of the game, suddenly enemies start doing attacks that you can't parry. So this game, you can parry like the first half of the game, then suddenly enemies do a bunch of attacks that you can't parry at like the half mark of the game. Then at 3/4 of the game, you can parry again. The enemies make parryable attacks again. And then when you're in the end game, with close to the final boss, etc., you go back to not being able to parry. And it's not that you're unable to parry, it's that the enemies get super cheap. They start implementing these like cheap tactics where they're like slam attacks that you can't parry. Some enemies will snipe you from far away, and obviously you can't parry that. I also have to include, and this isn't a bad thing or a good thing, but I do have to distinguish between games like Sekiro that do not have stamina versus games like this one, Lords of the Fallen, or maybe Elden Ring, that do have stamina whenever you like run, attack, jump. It all consumes stamina, and that is part of the combat. It absolutely affects the way you do your combos or how patient you have to be whenever you're fighting an enemy. So I've already mentioned that at some points of this game you cannot parry, but when you are allowed to parry in this game, the parry does stun enemies either with a single parry or sometimes you have to parry twice if it's like a super strong enemy. I don't really remember. But once you do parry an enemy, you can quickly then go for an execution attack. And by that I mean that it's not like a slow process towards breaking the enemy's posture, like in Sekiro where you have to like parry 50 times or like attack the enemy and just slowly build up their posture. In this game, in Lords of the Fallen, the enemy's posture builds up very quickly if you parry them. So you can essentially get into this rhythm of parry, execution, if you get like really good at parrying. By the way, I've already individually reviewed each and every one of these games. If you want to find their respective individual videos, they're in my channel. Right now, this is just a tier list. I'm not going to get super in depth for the game mechanics because I already did that in my original videos. So, Lords of the Fallen is number 14 on the list. By the way, this list is my opinion. If you disagree, cry me a river. Make your own YouTube channel and make your own tier list. Just cry me a river. These are the games that I like in the order in which I like them, okay? So, if you don't like it, suck it. Number 13 on the list, Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah, I know it's not a Souls-like, but this isn't like a Souls-like tier list. This is like a Parry video game tier list. So the reason why it's higher up than Lords of the Fallen is that in Ghost of Tsushima, you can parry attacks throughout the entirety of the game. And whatever you cannot parry, you can perfect dodge. So automatically, just for that, it's higher rated than Lords of the Fallen. So this game has no stamina. It's not like, Elden Ring, so you don't have to worry about exhausting yourself in the middle of a combo. You can parry in all directions, so you can turn your back to an enemy attack, and you can successfully perfect parry with like your back turned to the enemy sword or whatever. Something that throws me off about this game is that the red unblockable attacks, right? You cannot block or parry them, so you have to perfect dodge them. But the timing for a perfect dodge is stricter. I don't know if stricter, but because the dodge is not identical to the parry, and you move, right? Therefore, your hitbox and hurtbox moves. Perfect dodging attacks feels harder in this game than it does to perfect parry. And I know you can get the Wrath of Sarugami armor, and that makes it so you have a higher perfect dodge window. But even with that armor, and even when you play online, where you can buff your parry stats even more for an even bigger parry window, perfect dodging is simply harder in Ghost of Tsushima than it is to perfect parry. This is a problem, and it's why I drop the game whenever I'm playing online. So always, after a while, when I play Ghost of Tsushima, I think the game is amazing, the art is amazing, it's just, this game is beautiful. But when it comes to perfect dodging, I always wish that I could just parry those attacks instead, and so that way I don't have to like get frustrated over the fact that perfect dodging is harder than perfect parrying. Another good thing is there's counterattacks for the perfect parry, and there's counterattacks for the perfect dodge. Another reason why it's higher rated than Lords of the Fallen. Lords of the Fallen doesn't have a counterattack. It has an execution that is completely different from a counterattack. Number 12 on the list, Wolong Fallen Dynasty. If any of you are a Dynasty Warriors fan like me, then you really wanted to love this game. Again, this is the greater tier list, so all the games in this list are good within their own right. I'm just telling you and rating them how I feel about these games after I played every single one of them. So in Wolong, you can parry in all directions, but the problem is you have to parry early, like in Sekiro. And having to parry early forces memorization of attacks rather than reaction of enemy attacks. Another thing about this game is the combat feels very stiff, so really the highlight of this game is the parrying. I just feel like whenever I press the attack button, my character doesn't react as quickly as I expect him to, and it makes the combat feel stiff. Then, this game likes to act like it doesn't have stamina, but at the bottom you can see that blue bar, and then there's like the orange bars. So this game does have stamina. You can exhaust yourself if you play too recklessly. It's just that it's called ki or chi instead of stamina. But it works exactly like a stamina system. So this game does have stamina. The other problem with this game, the armor management. Dude, do not waste my time with armor management. This is why Lies of P is such a great game. Lies of P is all about the game, the actual combat. These Team Ninja games love throwing like non-content at you. Long are the days of Ninja Gaiden where you're just Ryu Hayabusa and the game is like about how badass and you can wall run and swing your sword. No. Let me make you waste time comparing armor and number percentages. Dude, let me swing my sword. Next on the list, we got Chang Fallen Feathers. So in this game, not only can you not parry in all directions, so if you turn your back to an enemy attack and you block, you're gonna take damage, but you can only parry weapon attacks. If an enemy punches you with his fists, or kicks you, or scratches you with claws, or bites you, or uses magic, you can't parry any of that. You can only parry swords, knives, axes, weapons. It has to be a weapon attack. Otherwise, you cannot parry it. I made a separate video about a mod you can install for this game that lets you parry anything and everything. And then, with that mod installed, this game would be in the top 5. But it's not. Without the mod, this game is like number 11 on this tier list. It also has stamina, so you can exhaust yourself from attacking, so you have to be patient whenever you fight enemies. What I can say for sure is that this game, with or without the mod, is better than Lords of the Fallen, and it's also better than Wolong Fallen Dynasty. Next on the list, we have Deathbound. I wasn't expecting to include this game on this list, but then I realized that you can parry more attacks in this game than you can in Chang Fallen Feathers. There are some attacks that you cannot parry though in this game. This game also has stamina, and you cannot block in all directions. It does, however, have a perfect dodge, so even if you're surrounded by enemies, you can be safe by perfect dodging. So this game has the perfect block, and it also has a parry, where you swing your shield, and it's like the Elden Ring or Dark Souls parry with the buckler shield. And when you parry, you break the enemy's posture, you can go in for an execution. Doesn't have a counterattack, no counterattacks in this game. So let's move on to the next game. Thymesia. Now we're getting into warmer waters. So this game, no stamina, so you can attack with reckless abandon, so long as you're up for timing your parries correctly. So not only is this game fun enough where you will most likely pass the entire game because it's also a short game, but you can also parry in all directions, so you can turn your back to the enemy and you will successfully deflect/parry enemy attacks even if you have turned your back to the enemy attack. However, there is no block button, you can only parry, so if you fail your parry, you're 100% gonna take damage. It's not like Lies of P where if you fail your parry, you can still block and take diminished damage. Later on in the game, as you level up, you can increase your parry window, or you can level up your parry so that it can also deflect red unblockable attacks. I recommend you just dodge the red unblockable attacks, and when you level up your parry, make it so that you increase your parry window. Trust me, it will pay off in the long run. Unless you're like a giga badass parry god, then go ahead and level up so that you can block everything. And by block, I mean parry, because this game has no block. This game is still number 9 on the tier list, which is pretty low, I guess, because it's a short game, and it's also not a perfectly polished game. This game has some jank in it, but it's really a great parry game, This is the game where if you're trying to get your girlfriend into Souls-likes, you can, this could be like a good introductory game if she's finding that Sekiro is too hard. Next on the list, we got Khazan. Listen, Khazan is a great game. Overall, it's a fantastic, wonderful game. It's a banger. Nobody can deny it. But on the parry metric, it disappointed me. First off, we got the whole armor thing, the whole armor crafting thing. Don't make me craft armor. Don't make me look at armor. Don't make me look at defense stats. Stop wasting my time with armor and comparing percentages. Grow up. We are adults. We go to work. When we get home, we want to decompress with a good game. We don't have time for this nonsense. If I wanted to compare percentages, I would keep working with Excel like I do at my job. I'm at my house trying to play a video game. Don't make me compare armors like it's an Excel table sheet. It's not. Let me live my life. So for the parry in Khazan, a lot of people might not notice, but you do have to parry early in Khazan. It's negligible, almost negligible, but if you're a parry god like me, you're gonna notice that you have to parry early in Khazan. The major upside for the parry in Khazan is that you can perfect block in all directions. So if an enemy attacks your back, right, if you turn your back to the enemy's attack, you can still perfect parry it if you block at the last moment. Again, I had already reviewed this game separately, so if you want to hear the in-depth commentary for Khazan, I have reviewed this game. There is a separate video all about Khazan if you're interested in the details. So the best part about Khazan is that when you actually perfect block, you can level up your skills in a way where perfect blocking in and of itself actually deals damage. Then as you level up, you can buy a counterattack for your perfect block. So not only does you perfect blocking deal damage, but you can counterattack after that as well. And this is like the best part about Khazan for me. Being able to perfect block and deal damage with perfect blocking and then quickly counterattacking afterwards. Now, when I compare this game to Lies of P, I don't like how much I have to manage my skills because there are no skills in Lies of P. So that to me makes Lies of P the better game. Next on the list we have Echoes of Yi Samsara. So there was somebody in my comment section the other day telling me about how Khazan is their favorite game and I should do a better job of reviewing it. So here is a better game than Khazan. I put this game right here, rated higher than Khazan, just to piss you off. So Echoes of Yi Samsara, no stamina, you can parry in all directions. This game is still pretty low on the tier list because this is discount Sekiro. It's the truth. This is like Sekiro for like your little brother. If you have a younger sibling, this is the game you should give them because if you start them out with Sekiro, they're gonna cry from frustration. So because you can parry in all directions, this game is a lot of fun. That's actually what makes it the most fun, the fact that you can surround yourself with mobs of enemies, and if you're precise enough, you can parry everything. The combat, however, is identical to Sekiro. Not in the sense of it being polished. This game is way jankier than Sekiro, but I mean, like, it works the same. Like, you deplete the enemy's posture, you do your execution attack. That's how this game works, just like Sekiro. You can perfect dodge as well. Well, I don't know if perfect dodge, but there are some attacks that are like... Some attacks are like only parry attacks, and then other attacks are like unblockable, but you can like still perfect dodge it. Next, we got Elden Ring Nightreign. The Executor character is the best thing FromSoft has done since Sekiro. If you disagree, I do not care. Sewer slide yourself. I love parrying. There's nothing you or anyone can do to make me hate parrying. I love it, and I will always love it. Now, the craziest thing about this game is how generous the parry window is for Executor. It is ridiculous. I swear you have like 30 frames for parrying. If you don't know what 30 frames are, it's like a quarter of a second, maybe more. That is a huge parry window. This is probably the video game with the largest parry window of any game ever. Of course, I'm exaggerating when I say that, but compared to Sekiro or other FromSoft games, I just feel safe when I have the Lightbringer sword out, you know, the cursed blade with Executor. I just feel safe when I pull out my parry sword. What this game is missing for me, especially for the Executor, is I really wish you could parry in all directions because enemies love to mob you in this game. But if they hit your back, you're not going to be able to perfect parry. If they hit you on your back, you're going to take damage. So you can neither block nor perfect parry if you turn your back to an enemy attack. You will take damage. But it's a FromSoft game, so you can dodge. You can dodge, it's all good, but there is no perfect dodge, at least not for Executor. And then my other issue with this game is that you're Executor, right? You have a sword, but then the bosses, they all are like running all over the place. There's even like a jellyfish kind of boss, and he flies all over the place. How am I supposed to attack you? Then some bosses also attack in such a way, And by boss, I mean the Night Lord, you know, like the final boss when you reach the end of your run. They behave in such a way where there's no point in parrying. It renders your parry inert. And when I've seen tier lists of like who's the best character, and when it comes to describing Executor and his parry, Executor really does not have the best skill in this game. The best character in this game is Iron Eye by a lot. Like Iron Eye is S tier, and then every other character is like B tier or below. And I know they updated it, they nerfed Iron Eye or whatever, but they had to nerf him for a reason. Like Iron Eye is by far the best character in this game. I still did play Nightreign the first month just to parry with Executor because it felt great. I was just so happy that FromSoft finally included another Sekiro parry in another one of their games. Next up we have Sekiro, the grandfather of all parry games. I mean, I know it's not the first game ever in history to have parry. Plenty of other, like Onimusha had a parry long before Sekiro did. But we all know that Sekiro is the parry game that started it all. This is like the golden standard for parrying. Doesn't mean it's the best game. I mean, for me it's not the best, but it is undeniably the golden parry standard. If you want to include a parry in your game and you don't know how to go about it, then make it like Sekiro. Play it safe, and just make it like Sekiro, because some developers, they do these really weird exotic parries, and you know, it just makes me think like, dude, you could have just gone the Sekiro route and you would have made your parry way better that way. So Sekiro, there's no stamina, so you have to be on the offensive all the time. This game expects you to play that way. And if you let off the pressure and you start going easy on the enemy, they will recover their posture and you will have to start from zero all over again. The only permanent progress you make towards defeating an enemy is their health bar, but trust me when I tell you that you really just want to be breaking their posture. That is the quickest and most efficient way to deal with any enemy in this game. You cannot parry in all directions. If you turn your back to the enemy and you expect to block or perfect parry, it's not going to work. You're going to take damage. They're going to defile you. Sekiro also punishes you if you spam the parry. If you spam the parry button, your parry will degrade and it will diminish the amount of parry frames that you have. So do not spam the parry button in Sekiro. Next we have Curse of the Dead Gods. Oh my god, I love this game. I love this game. It's maybe my personal favorite in the entire list. It is though not the best one. Objectively, this is not the best game on this list, but it's my personal favorite. And the reason why it's not objectively the best game on this list is because you can parry with all weapons, but you can only counterattack if you have the Revenge Spear. And it is random. You get weapons randomly in this game. So you could go like 10 runs without getting the Revenge Spear, and then suddenly on your 11th run, you finally get the Revenge Spear that you were like expecting to get like a million runs ago. And it's just frustrating that you don't get the weapons you want when you need them in this game. But other than that, I love this game. I love the game mechanics, the gameplay. It's very engaging. You can just pick up and play it. You can parry in all directions, so you can turn your back to the enemy. You cannot block. You can only parry and dodge and perfect dodge in this game. So, you know, don't hold the parry button thinking that you will be able to block. You cannot block in this game. You have to perfect parry every time. This game is super fun. There's also a shield where just from parrying, you will deal damage to the enemy. I love it. I love this game. It's such a fun little game. It's a roguelike, by the way. You do have stamina in this game, but it's not a stamina bar. You have like little stamina squares. And each time you dodge, it costs 1 square. And each time you attack as well, it costs like... Each time you do a combo, that's one little square of stamina that you consume. But even so, you can still attack in this game with quite a bit of reckless abandon if you know what you're doing. Blades of Fire, the absolute sleeper hit dark horse of this tier list. I love this game. So in this game, you do have stamina, but you can parry in all directions, and when you do perfect parry in this game, when you successfully perfect block, It restores all your stamina, and you have infinite stamina for like 3 seconds. It's a pure combat game, like you can't jump in this game, but this game, I just love it. It just plays so well. It has a very heavy and deliberate combat system where you don't do combos per se. You like attack the enemy's arms or the enemy's head or his torso. That's how the combat works in this game. And the parry is just crisp. It has a crisp parry. I love it. I don't even know what else to say about this game. This game is just so much fun. I played this game, passed it in its entirety, and I'm gonna play it again in the future. You can bet your bottom on that. The parry is not like Sekiro. Here, when you parry, the enemy's instantly staggered. There is no counterattack, but as soon as you parry, you get like a free hit in. And it deals extra damage, so it sorta counts like a counterattack, except that it has just the exact same animation as a light attack. You can also perfect dodge in this game. You don't get much of a reward for perfect dodging, but the game does go slow motion when you successfully perfect dodge, and that's always cool, you know? I want to reiterate that you can perfect block in all directions. So if you turn your back to an enemy attack and then you perfect block, you will successfully parry. So this game wants you to fight mobs of enemies, and you will be able to defend yourself if you know how to time your blocks. You can fight 12 enemies at a time, and I'm telling you, you will come out the victor. Next on this list, we have Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn. Believe it or not, for all the haters, this is a freaking great game. Accept it. Learn to live with it. Listen, guys, I feel the same way you do about Ghost of Yotei, where why get rid of Jin Sakai? If you made Ghost of Tsushima and you have this great character called Jin Sakai, why do you have to put like this angry lesbian in Ghost of Yotei? And a lot of people had the same opinion for this game, and I am of that same opinion. Like, why is like all this girl power in video games? Girl power or no, Flintlock The Siege of Dawn is a freaking great game. It is a banger. You should play it. So, Flintlock, there is no stamina in this game, so you can attack with reckless abandon. The parry is not like Sekiro. In this game, when you parry, immediately you go invincible and you go into this animation and you're invincible throughout the entire animation, and then you can counterattack during that same animation, and you're also invincible throughout the entire animation of the counterattack as well. You can parry and block in all directions, so you can turn your back to the enemy attack and you will successfully parry. This game wants you to fight hordes of enemies. This game could be Dynasty Warriors if it wanted to, but it's not. It's more of a Souls-like. But what that means is the parry in this game is too overpowered, and that makes the game a little bit too easy. This game is also not perfectly polished. This game has jank in it, and you will notice. But this is a super fun game. I've passed this game in its entirety like 7 times at least. This is a great game, and you should really play it if you did not give it a chance all the way back in 2023, which is, I think, when this game came out. You can also parry projectiles and return them to sender. This game also has ranged attacks. I mean, I don't like it, but you have ranged attacks. I think the ranged attacks are overpowered. But it adds, like more combat depth to the game. So, it's there if you want to use it. I don't use it when I play. I mean, I don't abuse it. I don't use it a lot when I play this game, because the game will force you sometimes to use your guns. But there it is, Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn, a sleeper hit game that everybody ignored. Really give this game a chance. I was the type of person that discriminated against this game, and then I ended up loving it. So, do it, take a chance on games that you thought were going to suck or whatever. Live your life. This is a great game. Give it a try. Seriously. Ladies and gentlemen, we made it. The best Souls-like in the entire market of Souls-likes right now. And maybe even the best parry game right now until we get Onimusha for sure. Lies of P. What a banger. What a banger. This game is a masterpiece. This game is better than Sekiro. And if you disagree, you are stupid. You're stupid. You're stupid. Your brain doesn't work. This game is better than Sekiro. I don't care if you disagree. I don't care. Grow up. Grow up. Start paying your rent on time. Get a job. If you think Sekiro is better than Lies of P, you are unemployed. Congratulations, you are unemployed if you think Sekiro is better than Lies of P. If you think that Sekiro is better than Lies of P, you've been taking your SSRIs for way too long. It's time for you to snap out of your depression and accept reality. This game has the most responsive perfect block out of any game on this list. In this game, you can parry early or you can parry late, so long as you parry within that 9-frame window, right? So long as you parry within that 0.155 second window, you are gonna successfully perfect block the attack. Like, the enemy sword could be in your mouth, and if you press the block button at that exact moment, you will negate all damage. No other game can boast such a precise parry as Lies of P. It is that good. So you have stamina. You cannot attack with reckless abandon in Lies of P. You have stamina. And also, you cannot turn your back to the enemy. You will take damage. You cannot parry in all directions. This game is all about the combat. It's very linear. It's not like Sekiro where you have to go to YouTube if you want to figure out how to get the true ending. No. You just start up Lies of P and you kill everything that breathes. Everything that walks, you kill it. And that's how you play Lies of P until you get to the end of the game. When Geppetto asks you to give him your heart, you say no. And you kill the nameless puppet. That's when you say, no, this heart belongs to me. And you kill your daddy. So there it is. That's the tier list. This is the entire greater tier list, parry metric tier list for all of the games that have parry/Souls-likes. So thanks for watching. Take care and enjoy.